Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Forgive an X Day, Tony. Any exes you'd like to forgive?
I'm Tony Kornheiser, yes. I forgive you, Eleanor Roosevelt. I do.
Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay, Eleanor Roosevelt would now be about 120?
Yeah, okay.
125, right here, 140.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. But she was, she was very nice in those days, very nice to me.
I'm sure.
And I forgive her what she did. How many people have we lost by mentioning Eleanor Roosevelt?
The whole,
Raise your hand.
everybody.
Yes.
You lost me.
That's right.
There's nobody left.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Liberty beat the Lynx, the Niners get another shot at the Chiefs, and Booger McFarland joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with 5 Dodger pitchers combining for yet another shutout last night. They're 4th in their last 5 playoff games. Dodgers beat the Mets 8-0. Shohei Ohtani hit a 3-run mammoth home run in the top of the 8th. Max Muncy and Kike Hernandez also hit home runs. Wilbon, what is your biggest takeaway from last night's game?
I think it's Buehler, Tony. I know it's only 4 innings, and you and I are not accustomed to making a big deal out of 4 little innings in October, but that's the world we live in now. This is the baseball world we exist in.
That's right.
Where 4 innings can be celebrated and somebody, can throw a parade because somebody went 4 innings. And Buehler did that, and it got them, sort of just solidly planted in a position of owning that game. And the other thing is, Kike Hernandez, who I sort of, at one point like to make fun of, Kike. But the fact is, Tone, this dude is clutch. He's been clutch for a long time in the postseason. He's better in this postseason than people with some bigger and more famous names and reputations. And all he does is deliver. The Dodgers try to get rid of him. He comes back. He plays well in September and October, and he does it more than once. So he might be my, also starring. But I'm going to go with Buehler as my main takeaway from that game last night.
My biggest takeaway from that game is small and it is speculative. It is the top of the 2nd inning in a 0-0 game. And there were 2 balls hit back to Luis Severino. And if he had fielded them cleanly, we might not be talking about the Dodgers winning this game.
Fair enough.
I believed one of them presented the availability of a double play, and I'm sure the second one would have been a clean out. He'd have been out of the inning. It had been 0-0. Here is a quote from Severino. I feel like my glove messed up everything in that inning, unquote, because it's then 2-0 Dodgers. Now we go to the bottom of that inning, and Walker Buehler. He's got 1 out. He walks 2 Mets and gives up an infield single. So now you have bases loaded with 1 out. He strikes out the 9th hitter, the catcher Alvarez. Alvarez can't hit. Okay, but then on a 3-2 pitch, he gets a swinging strikeout of Frankie Lindor. And he can hit, though he's batting .091 in this particular series.
Yeah.
So I think that inning told the tale of the entire game. And I agree with you completely. Buehler goes 4. The other night, Yamamoto against San Diego goes 5. The outlier is Flaherty, who went 7. Yeah. But their bullpen is spectacular.
It is.
And they don't even have a closer, Mike. They do it by committee. So they're really good. All right. We turn now to the WNBA. You picked Minnesota to win last night. You got that wrong.
Yep.
Though Minnesota led by as many as 15 points early in the game. New York had cut the lead to 8 at halftime and to 1 after 3 quarters. The game was won on a 28-foot 3 from Sabrina Ionescu, who had 2 of her 3 threes in the final minute. New York now needs 1 victory to win the title. Wilbon, your reaction to that shot and the win?
That's a scream out loud moment. I'm watching by myself in my man cave. Scream out loud, rouse the neighbors. And it's just a great shot. And Ionescu, this is what, she has sort of grown up, and she grew up embracing and being close to Kobe Bryant. And that's been a very sort of public thing, her admiration and relationship with Kobe and sort of how she has been affected by the things he told her and by the things he stood for as a basketball player. And you sort of, when you watch her play and she hits shots like this, you can't help but go back and revisit that association. And I thought of it last night. And that was also a Steph Curry moment. And you can associate her now with Steph because she's done that thing where they went and had the three-point shooting contest. And she's out there in Steph Curry land. And she hits it and you have to scream out. And she didn't win by herself. I mean, Brianna Stewart plays a great game and defensively all over Nafisa Collier and all over the entire Minnesota team. Hats off, but the shot, scream out loud moment.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I watched television this morning and I saw how many people were talking about this shot and how many of them were remarking about how deep the shot was. And I thought, am I living on the moon here? Ionescu was in a three-point shooting contest with Steph Curry at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
This is her shot. This is what she do. When she comes over half court, you got to check her right there. Everybody knows that. Minnesota knows that.
Yep.
They were out there on her, and she just beat the defense with that shot. So to me, it's a great shot, but to me, I'm thinking, well, it's sort of like when Steph Curry made all those threes in the Olympics, because that's what he does. If you don't know this is going to happen, you're not paying attention. This is redemptive for Ionescu. She was 8 for 26 in game one. She's 10 for 21 after that.
Well, Brianna Stewart, too.
Redemptive for Stewart.
Yep.
Redemptive for her. She missed the foul shot. She missed the layup. But she had 30 and 11 and made all 10 foul shots. So they're in a position to win now.
They are.
They beat them short and they beat them long. They're in position to win.
But there's another game in Minnesota first. Don't forget.
I understand. I understand.
Tomorrow night, just
so
saying.
then there's one in New York.
Yes.
Then there's one in New York.
Game 5.
The
Game 5 would be in New York. We're going to move to the NFL now. In this Sunday's Super Bowl rematch, the 5-0 Chiefs head to Santa Clara to take on the 3-3 49ers. Now, Kyle Shanahan's Niners are 0-4 against Andy Reid's Chiefs, including 2 Super Bowl losses. Shanahan says, though, quote, you got to make sure you don't get caught up in that. This game has nothing to do with past games, close quote. Tone, do you think it's important psychologically for the Niners to beat the Chiefs?
I think it's important psychologically for the 49ers to win a game.
Yeah.
Any game. Yeah. They're 3-3. Yeah. They have lost in division to the Rams and the Cardinals. That's bad for them. The other loss to Minnesota at Minnesota, okay, I understand that. But, if you're going to talk about Super Bowl rematches, look at the standings. The Chiefs are 5-0. You want to mention them with the Super Bowl? Go ahead. Not the Niners. It doesn't work that way. There are many practical reasons why the Niners have to win this game that have nothing to do with a Super Bowl rematch.
Right.
I just want to say one other thing, and I know this doesn't affect you at all. You don't care. But I am stunned that the Chiefs are an underdog in this game. Wow. I'm stunned at that. Wow. I mean, I told you yesterday that I would bet on Mike Tomlin at home as an underdog all the time.
Yeah.
And if you give me points and Patrick Mahomes, I want that. Patrick Mahomes is 10-3 in his career as the underdog because he's not the underdog much. It doesn't happen a lot. They're coming out of a bye, Mike. Andy Reid is 21-4 in Philadelphia and Kansas City coming out of a bye. So I don't get this.
Well, there are two things. One, the game is in Santa Clara. So that is going to skew toward the 49ers, even at 3-3, as they start to slowly get people back. I understand, why you could call it a pick'em game. Andy Reid, after a bye, is money. He's money. Yeah. He's been this going back to Philadelphia. So that's where you look at it and say, wait a minute. The Chiefs are rested. They're coming off a bye. That defense is playing, lights out. I'm kind of with you there. But, Tony, it is important just for the 49ers to win the game. They can't get caught up in this yet. It's not December. They're not playing for seeding. They're not figuring out whether they should rest, the rest or rust situation. We're nowhere near that. The 49ers need to win and get rolling and get atop the NFC, and they're not close to that right now.
Mike, it is easy to ignore the Chiefs or not believe in them because they have underwhelming victories. You yourself have picked both Houston. And Baltimore to beat them.
Baltimore to beat them. Baltimore to beat them.
And so I would say this. How many teams have actually beaten the Chiefs this year? None is the answer.
Including
the correct
Baltimore.
Answer. Let's take a break. Yeah, coming up. How should the good people of Louisiana feel about the return of Sean Payton tonight? We're going to ask Booger McFarland.
We're also going to ask him if he thinks number 4 Georgia can upset number 1 Texas. That's a biggin. That's a biggin this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to sit and watch that. I am. And by the way, they'd be 1-2 if Alabama hadn't beaten Georgia, right?
I'm going to watch my Wildcats beat.
Pardon me.
Week 7 of the NFL season kicks off tonight, which makes it a perfect time for a return visit from our great friend ESPN NFL and college football analyst Booger McFarland. Wilbon wearing a congressional shirt, got the Congo shirt. You'd ask Dan Pell to take him out there. Take him out there for 36 or something like this. Let's start this way. Sean Payton returns to New Orleans tonight in a Thursday night game. He's coaching Denver. He won a Super Bowl with the Saints, but he walked away from the Saints. You grew up in Louisiana, though you grew up a Cowboys fan, not a Saints fan, but I think you will know this. How do you think Payton will be received tonight in New Orleans?
Well, there's going to be a time when they revere Sean Payton and they're going to welcome him back and throw a party for him. But that won't be tonight, Tony, because tonight he is the enemy coming into the Superdome. And those fans in New Orleans, all they're going to know is that he coaches for the Denver Broncos, and he's the coach who chose to stop coaching for us and a couple of years later go coach for somebody else. And so they're going to look at that as Sean Payton quit us. And anytime you get the enemy coming back in who quits you, yeah, they're going to boo him. But deep down, they know what Sean Payton did for that city. They know what Sean Payton did for Drew Brees and that team. But it's not going to be pretty tonight because them Cajuns in Louisiana, a week after LSU upset Ole Miss in Baton Rouge, they are still pumped up for that. And Sean Payton is going to feel the wrath of that tonight.
All right, we got to move up to my division, Booger. The NFC Central is always going to be known as the Central for me. The Lions are traveling to Minnesota, and I'm a proponent of the Lions doing whatever they got to do to make a trade to try and replace Aiden Hutchinson. But let's talk about now, this week. What is it the Lions can do? You played along a defensive line and some good ones in your life. What can they do to make up for to offset his absence against the Vikings?
Well, I think it's a couple things, Mike. Number one, I think the offense has to score a few more points, realizing that the defense may not be as stingy as it's been. Specifically from a defensive standpoint, Aiden Hutchinson is one of the more dominant players in our league, was a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, and so he can win his one-on-one battle. I don't think you're going to be able to count on whoever they replace him with to do that. So look for more stunts up front, defensive linemen twisting, working together. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, look for him to blitz a little bit more. You're going to have to get creative anytime you replace a player of that ilk. And don't get me wrong, he is going to be tough to replace, but I do think defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn will do a really good job of creating more pressure. But I think Dan Campbell said it best. One guy or one side of the ball is not going to do it. It's got to be a holistic approach, and the entire team has to come together to replace a player like Hutch.
All right, we are glad to have you, particularly this week, because we got big college games as well. Booger, you know, Tony, for the first 75, 80 years of his life, he paid no attention to college football, and now he's all in. He's rabid. You know, I get these calls on Saturday. He's a wild man. So let's go straight to Georgia versus Texas, which is, for anybody, an enormous game. I think Georgia can win at Texas. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy because everybody's saying Texas is the favorite. Here comes little old Georgia. Little old Georgia can't win. They're going to be on the road at Austin. And I guarantee you Kirby Smart in his meeting rooms is saying, hey, guys, didn't we go back-to-back as far as national champion? We're underdogs to nobody. We're going to their house, and we're going to kick their butt. And here's how we're going to do it. Because I know Kirby Smart. I played against Kirby Smart when I was at LSU, and he was at Georgia. I know the type of competitor he is. But what they're going to have to do in order to secure this victory is get some chunk plays down the field. Carson Beck, who Mel Kiper before the season had as the #1 quarterback potentially in the 2025 draft, he hasn't played like it, Mike. So can he come out and have one of those quintessential performances and get some chunk plays down the field to Arian Smith or Dominic Lovett? If they can do that, I think Georgia can go in there and get this win, even though nobody's giving them a chance. Big Texas against little old Georgia. It's going to be a fun game to watch on Saturday night.
We will get you out of here on this, and I will stay with college football. Alabama's #7. They are oddly struggling at this point. You know, I mean, they lose once, they almost lose a second time. They visit #11 Tennessee. The talk about college football is always the same. There's a 12-team playoff, so everybody's got 20 teams that they think can get in it. Will the loser of this game, in your mind, be out of the playoffs?
I think the loser of this game is going to go a long way to being out. And here's what I mean by this. Okay, if you look at Alabama and Tennessee, both have one loss. The loser of this game is going to have two. Alabama's got Missouri and LSU on the horizon. Tennessee's got Georgia. I don't think a 3-loss team is going to make the college football playoff, even though it's gone to 12. So this is one of those games that if you lose this game and your staff, you're going to have to go back and say, guys, I don't know if we can get in, or we're going to have to be perfect the rest of the way. And in this new age of college football, with the new SEC, the new Big Ten, the new ACC, and the new Big 12, the competition is too fierce. I do think there's going to be another loss waiting for the loser of this game. And so by all means, this is one of those games where I think the loser doesn't have any shot of making the college football playoff.
Big weekend.
Thank you,
Big
Booger, as
weekend,
always.
Booger.
Great to have you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Anytime, fellas. Glad to be here.
Let's take one last break. Still to come, Justin Fields says he hasn't played well enough.
Uh-oh, he's drinking the Kool-Aid or somebody's forcing him to. 2 NBA teams suffer blows before the season even begins. Tony, you can predict one of them. I know you can.
Chicago?
Tonight. Pardon the Interruption is presented by the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy 55th birthday, Ernie Els. Els is playing the senior tour now. He won 3 times out there this past year. He's won 6 senior events, including 1 major. Els came to the PGA Tour from South Africa and quickly became a big star. He won 4 majors. He won the U.S. Open in 1994 and 1997. He won the British Open in 2002 and 2012. Els won 19 PGA Tour events. He's in the Hall of Fame. And he'd be considered a dominant player, except he was playing when Tiger Woods was playing. And no one consistently beat Tiger. Not Ernie, not Phil, not VJ. Wilbon, didn't you hang out with Els at Whiskey Creek when it opened and he had designed it?
Yes. First of all, Tony, he is so huge. He's like the size of an NFL quarterback or tight end, Ernie Els. And he gave me a tip that lasted for a long time. Very simple. Big man, and I'm small compared to him. Said, I want you swinging that 5-iron like a pitching wedge. And just the imagery of it, it benefited me for a long time. It was fun. Ernie Els, how about his nickname, the Big Easy? Isn't that a great nickname?
Yeah.
Great nickname.
Like him. Very likable guy.
Yes, very likable.
Happy anniversary, Dave Roberts. On this day 20 years ago, on the brink of being swept, the Red Sox inserted Roberts, who hadn't played in 10 days, to pinch run at first base, down 1 run in the bottom of the 9th with Bill Miller at bat. Mariano Rivera tried 3 times to pick off Roberts, and then, on the first pitch to Miller, Roberts stole second. After that steal, Miller singled and Roberts scored from second. The Red Sox went on to win the game in 12 innings and eventually complete their comeback from 0-3 down to the Yankees. Roberts did not play in the World Series that the Red Sox won for the first time since 1918, but he has another ring as manager of the Dodgers. Roberts' record in L.A. is 852 and 506 in 9 seasons.
It's an amazing record. That's why I don't want to hear anything about if the Dodgers don't win, you fire Dave Roberts. Please stop with that. Tony, which championship do you think means more to him? The one he played, even though he didn't play in the World Series, he helped get them there, or the one as Dodgers manager? What would be your guess?
My guess would be Boston because he is so beloved there.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so too.
And turn that series
I love
around.
it in LA now.
Happy trails to last night's game for the Sabres. Sidney Crosby scored a goal in overtime to give the Penguins a 6-5 win. But history was made twice earlier in the contest. Crosby became just the 10th player in NHL history with 1,600 points when he assisted on a first-period goal. And later he assisted on Evgeny Malkin's 500th career goal. Malkin, Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, and Steven Stamkos are the only active players to reach that mark. Crosby and Malkin have only played for the Pens and won 3 Stanley Cups together. Said Malkin after the game, quote, "We probably deserve to share this night together. It's a great story," unquote.
Tony, only Wayne Gretzky and Yari Curry have done this in the NHL. All the goals as teammates. And for those in Chicago who think that Hull and Makita had to do it, Makita got his 500 after Hull had long left us and gone to Winnipeg, so not quite.
One omission, Virginia announced today that basketball coach Tony Bennett is retiring effective immediately.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a wow. I mean, he did something that Terry Holland and Ralph Sampson didn't even do. Won a national championship in 19 in Charlottesville.
Won a title.
Terrific coach.
Won a title after the year before going out to a 16.
Yes.
Big reversal. Big finish, quickly.
Let's
Clipper
do it.
star Kawhi Leonard out indefinitely. And OKC center Isaiah Hartenstein out at least 5 to 6 weeks to start the season. Big losses.
We don't know about Kawhi, but Hardenstein, he could be back by Thanksgiving. That won't be a big loss. I got them winning the whole thing. OKC. I'm just saying already. Justin Fields says he doesn't feel like he's played well enough to make his case for starting undeniable. What does that tell you?
Tells me Russell Wilson is starting, and it tells me I like Justin Fields for saying that. I do. Troy Aikman told 96.7 the ticket. The Cowboys receivers run terrible routes and have for a while. What does that mean?
Troy threw to Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper. He knows what it looks like. And by the way, it's the best voice and the most important one in the NFL on Sundays. Troy Aikman's. NL batting champ Luis Ariz had thumb surgery. Is that significant?
Well, he was playing with a bad thumb and won a batting title. Probably win his 4th next year. Last one, Lonzo Ball. Scored 10 points in his exhibition debut. Is that a big deal?
Huge deal. He missed more than 1,000 days. He hit threes. He looked great. Welcome back, Lonzo Ball. People thought he might never play again. Glad he's back.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And Troy Aikman's voice is heard on Mondays. Perhaps you're hearing ghosts on Sundays.
I hear him every day, whenever I want. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the Apple Podcasts, Sports Center.
PTI. And our PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon. How are you looking at the Georgia-Texas game?
Tony, kind of naively. You know, I unlike you, I spent my whole life ordering my Saturdays around college football. All of it. All of it. Back to when you could get one game on CBS, one game on ABC, and, you know, back that far. And there have been big games all the time. Now I hear people saying, this is the biggest college weekend of all time. I don't know that I'm buying that. I'm excited to see this game, but I don't know that it sets the whole industry on its ear. Because there are other regions of the country where other matchups will resonate. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to sit there and plant myself after Northwestern beats Wisconsin on the lake in Chicago tomorrow. I'm going to sit down there and watch the game. But I'm not going to draw out all these great meanings and make declarations about what it means for college football. It's a game. And the winner the loser can certainly stay. Even Georgia, I think, can stay in the running for a spot in the tournament, I think.
Is that the parlay you've got? Does it start with Wisconsin beating?
Yes.
Wisconsin losing to Northwestern?
Yes, starts there.
All other bets derive from that? Okay.
Everything.
I look at this. I want to consult my notes because I wrote some stuff down. So you never got these games before. You never got Texas, Georgia. You never got USC, Penn State. You never got Ohio State, Oregon. You never got that. Now, with the expansion into the 4 conferences from 5, you get games that you've never seen before. Plus, you still get, if I'm not mistaken, Ohio State and Michigan and Washington and Oregon and, you know, and Alabama and Georgia and stuff like that. I think, and I know a lot of people say that the 12-team playoff dilutes the regular season. I don't think so, Mike. I think so many teams have 1 losses and then maybe 2 losses. I think it makes the regular season actually more important than it's ever been before. And I think it's sort of a bonanza if you like college football because you're beginning to see games that you've speculated about, you've dreamed about. Now they're actually in front of you. This game, Georgia, Texas, it's a big deal game. This
is amazing. This is the same person who doesn't like interleague play. I mean, you never got Cubs, Red Sox. No. Oh, my God. No. Wait a minute.
No.
This is so hypocritical. No. This is impossibly hypocritical.
It's not hypocritical.
All these matches, you get Dodgers, you get Giants, Yankees. You can get all sorts of stuff. I said Red Sox, Cubs, but you don't like that.
No.
But you like this. Huh?
No, I want the integrity of the National League and the American League to be out there so that they only meet in the World Series. That's what I grew up with. That's what I particularly like. I didn't grow up with college football, so if there's, a mess like this,
so new.
I'm for it. because I get to see everything.
It's so new to you. I like the integrity of the Pac-12 versus the SEC and only play in a bowl game. I like that integrity.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Well,
it's out of here.
There are no more bowl games. There are no more bowl games. There's a playoff.
Oh, there's
bowl games. Don't exist.
It better be a bowl game.
Yeah, what?
I want to go to
the
one.
Beef O'Brady Bowl for Northwestern?
San Diego.
Nobody cares about the bowl games.
Can you
about
get
the
me
playoffs.
to San Diego? Huh? I'm just asking. Torrey Pines.
Take a bus from Arizona.
A bus?
Take a bus.
He's so delusional. That's it. We're done. Back to you.
National champion.